plus -11. That's going to be 11.
Minus 11?
Yeah, negative 11.
Okay.
That's going to be negative 2.
Okay.
That's going to be 8.
Okay.
And that's going to be, negative 40. Or positive 40.
Positive 40. There you go.
6 times 4. That's negative 20. Or, no. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was thinking, that's
When you are adding a positive and a negative number, which is what we're doing here, we're adding a plus 5 to a minus 4.
Yeah.
Okay? What you do is you subtract the two numbers and you put the sign of the bigger number on it.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. My screen made it look. I thought the plus was a multiplication.
Okay. So this is plus 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
8. But
I'm having a little trouble with the audio. You're kind of cutting in and out, so I'm having a hard time hearing your answers. What'd you say?
Sorry.
Did you answer this one or not?
Yeah. Great.
Oh, okay. I never heard it.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
That's going to be negative 36.
Good. Good. Okay. Enough of that. Still doing pretty good on that. And of course, you can only. That's something that it's not really very good to be 95% proficient on those. You see why? What would happen?
Yeah.
If you were only 95% proficient, what's going to happen is you're going to start using a calculator on everything.
Yeah.
And then once you do that, you're going to lose your memory of that. It's just the way of life. I used to play the piano, but I haven't played it in 10 years, and I could not play a single song now if I wanted to. So in order to remember all of that, you got to use them regularly. So I would try to advise you to not use a calculator when you're doing single-digit stuff. Just don't do it. Don't ever get in the habit of doing it. Because the moment you do, you'll revert back to not remembering how to do them, and then algebra 1, 2, and 3 become really hard if you don't know how to do single digit. If you have to rely on it. So.
Yeah, I understand that.
Okay. Let's review. Do you have new material? Do you have any current homework or anything that you want to take a picture of and send it to me real quick, or not? Or can you describe? Can you verbally tell me some problems that you were given, and let's do them.
Well, I don't have the homework right now because it's all turned in with her, but I sent you an email picture of the course overview.
Yeah. Let's take a look at it here. Give me an idea of the way they start out Algebra 1 classes, because I'm not totally sure. Good. Okay, give me a chance to look at these a little bit. Okay, so kind of what we spent most of the summer doing was the systems of equations. We didn't do any sequences. Exponential functions we didn't really do. Quadratic functions we solved quadratic functions. Actually, we didn't really solve quadratic functions, but that involves factoring. And if you can factor a quadratic function, then you can solve it. Relatively easy. Now, solving quadratic inequalities, that's a little harder. We haven't done any of that. Radical and rational functions, we haven't done any of that. We haven't done probability and statistics. So mostly what we've been doing is the stuff. So you started on functions. Linear relationships. Let's talk about that. A linear relationship, the format they probably taught you is y equal mx plus b, correct? Have they?
Yeah.
Okay. That, for example, y equals 2x plus 1, that is a linear relationship, meaning that if I graph that on the xy plane, I'm going to have a straight line. I'm not going to have a curved line. That's what linear means. And b is what? What's the meaning of b? In this case, plus 1. What does that mean?
It goes up 1.
No? That's the y-intercept. That's where we're going to cross the y-axis at 1. Always. In other words, whatever b is, that's where it goes through the y-axis. M is slope. M, in other words, the 2 is the slope, and that is a positive 2, meaning what? Means I go up 2 and to the right from my other point. In other words, the first point I put on here is my y-intercept, and then I need another point because 2 points define a line. That's all I need is 2 points. So for me to get the second point, I'm going to use the slope starting from the first point, and I got to make sure I end up with a positive slope. Because you hear a lot of people say, go up 2 and over 1. That's not specific enough. If I go up 2 and I go over 1 to the left, I end up with a negative slope. I don't want a negative slope. Okay, I want positive slopes because this is a positive number. Now, let's just check your understanding of positive and negative slopes. What is that? Positive or negative? What is... Nope, that's positive also. If positive slopes are when the left side is lower and left of the right side. In other words, there's the left endpoint, there's the right endpoint. My left endpoint is both lower and left of that. That makes it a positive slope. Okay? We change it slightly. And this is a negative slope. Because my left endpoint is above my right endpoint. It's left, but it's above. In other words, anything, let me just give you, it's easier to explain with example than it is to explain by saying the left side versus the right side. So we know that anything like that is positive, 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 until I get to vertical. What's the slope of a vertical line?
It's either no solution.
Undefined. It's not no solution. There's a difference. Undefined basically means infinite. The slope on that vertical line is infinite. It's just that they don't like to use the words infinite in Algebra 1, so they use the word undefined instead. Now, when I get to the other side, that's negative. Negative, 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 until finally I get flat. What's the slope of a horizontal line?
Isn't that one the
That's 0. Horizontal lines have slopes of 0. Vertical lines have slopes of undefined. And depending on which side of the vertical or horizontal you are is whether it's positive or negative. So let me give you some more. Let's just verify that slope is negative. Going down instead of going up. There's a number of ways to look at this. But start from your left. Always start from your left. If you put a ball on here and it rolls downhill, that's a negative slope. Notice that if I took just a slight difference and I start from my left and I put a ball, that's not going to roll anywhere. It would have to roll uphill, which means this has to be a positive slope. Got it?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. What'd you say? Put the ball on the left. Does it roll up? No, balls do not roll uphill, and uphill is same as positive. Okay, just always make sure you put the ball on the left. Okay, notice that if I had the line like that, now if I put the ball on the left, it will roll downhill. That's a negative slope. Negative slopes, the ball rolls downhill. All right. So let's go back to y equals x plus b. Let's talk about how we would graph certain kinds of linear functions. So I'm going to write some linear functions and you tell me how to graph them.
Alright.
Where do I start?
-1. That's the very first point.
And what is that called?
On the y.
The y-intercept. Intercept meaning that's where it crosses the y-axis. So right there, that point is on the line that I'm going to end up with.
Yeah.
What next?
X is...
Not x, but m.
Yeah,
This is slope. That's slope. This is the y-intercept. Okay. So m is, the slope is 2, right? So how do I put my second point on here?
Back one towards the y, and towards the left.
If I do that, if I go 1 to the left and up 2, there's my second point. What kind of slope would that be? Would it be positive or negative?
That'd be a negative.
Yeah, so it can't be that. We gotta go in the direction that results in a positive slope. So if I go up 2, which way do I have to go 1 to give me a positive slope?
You go
Right or left? Right.
right.
So I go up 2, the right 1, connect the lines, I got to connect the dots, I got a positive slope. notice that there's various ways to get that positive slope. I can go down 2 and left 1. That gives me a positive slope. In other words, I can go down and left, or I can go up and right. Either one is correct, because all I need is a second point. I could even go up 4 and right 2. Like that. That has the same slope as if I went up 2 and over 1. Remember that all points on this line have the same slope. If I'm taking the slope between that and that, it's 2. If I'm taking the slope between this and this, it's 2. In other words, the thing about linear functions is the slope is the same no matter where you're at on the line, and that's why you only need 2 points to graph this thing. Okay, let's do another one. Better yet, let's do that one. Y equal x. So where's the y-intercept?
Where's the y-intercept?
In this function right here. In other words, there's no b, right? That means b is 0. So there's our first point. There's the y-intercept. It goes right through the origin. You see why? Okay, what's the slope? No, what's the coefficient of x? 1. But I mean here. What's the coefficient of that x? It's an implied 1. In other words, I can write that like that, and the same thing as y equals x, right? You don't put the 1 in there usually. But when you're trying to figure out what m is, you have to know that if you're looking at an x without a coefficient, that its coefficient is 1. So my slope is plus 1. How do I get that from here, from my first point?
Would you just keep going up? Because I don't think it's
The only thing that, it doesn't matter if you go up or down. What matters is that you end up with a positive slope, not a negative. So let's go up 1. Which way do I have to go now to get a positive slope?
right.
Okay. So I'm going to go up 2 and over. So I'm going to go to that point right there. In other words, I went up 2 and over 2 to the right. Well, that gives me a positive slope, and that is my line. That's y equal x.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do another few. You're going to spend a lot of time doing this. If they haven't gotten to it yet, they certainly will. You'll end up spending weeks on y equal mx plus b.
I remember last year, at the beginning we started doing that. We did.
Right. How do I graph this? Where do I start?
You start at the 3.
Okay, right there on the y-axis. Okay, that's the y-intercept is 3. What's my slope? Down 2, left how many?
3.
No. Remember this 2 is 2 over 1. That's actually minus 2 over 1. So vertically I want to go this much, horizontally I want to go that much. Okay, some slopes can be fractions. In other words, if I had a fraction, if I had a slope of 2/3, I'd want to go up 2 over 3. Well, the over part here is the 1 and multiply as a denominator. So I want to go, you don't go down because it says negative. The negative, the only consideration you want to look at is that means when I'm done putting this point on here, the line that connects these 2 points needs to have a negative slope. That's why it's so important that you can recognize what's positive and what's negative on your slopes. Okay? You don't use this negative sign. That doesn't mean I'm going to go down versus up. I can still go up 2. As long as I go to the right 1, that's a positive slope. I can't do that. But if I go up 2 and I go left 1, now I got my correct line on there. That's a negative slope. The ball would roll downhill. Okay?
Yeah. Alright.
Let's do that one.
So I'm going to go up, over,
Let's put our y-intercept on there first.
yeah, but it's through the, and then we're going to go up 1, over 2.
Which way over? In other words, yes. See how important that is? In other words, over can be left or right.
Yeah.
So in the vertical direction, up as opposed to down, but you didn't give me a horizontal direction. So, and yet so many people do that. Everybody does it. Everybody says up and over instead of up and over to the right or to the left. So I'm going to go up 1, and I'm going to go which way? To the right 2 or left 2? To the right 2. Because that is a positive slope, and that is a positive number. So I've done it correctly. I could also have started, let me use blue. In other words, if I started my basic point, I could go down 1, but then I'd have to go to the left 2 to give me that as my second point. Well, if I connect those 2 points, I've got the same line as I did when I went up 1 and to the right 2. So the fact that that's positive doesn't mean I can't go down. I can still go down and left. Still gives me a positive slope.
Yeah.
Oops. Blue. All right, we got just a couple more minutes. Let's just stay on this theme.
Alright, so
What's that?
that's going to be, I'm going to go up 2, over.
Actually, this is a horizontal line. In other words, there's my intercept. B is 2, you're correct. But there's no x term, which means slope must be 0. In other words, I could have written this as 0 times x plus 2, same thing. And now I know my slope is 0. Well, a 0 slope is a horizontal line. So that's y equal 2. And as long as we're on horizontal and vertical lines, what is this?
That's just going to be
I'm sorry, what?
It's going to be 0 on the line, and then it's going to go
No, actually, this does not fit with this. This is, not really. It's hard to take this and turn it into this. There's no y at all. So x equals some number is a vertical line going through that number. In other words, x equal a number is a vertical line. That's all it is. It just has to go through the x-axis at that number. In other words, x equal 4 would be that vertical line, x equal 10 would be that vertical line, x equal minus 5 would be that vertical line. Likewise, all horizontal lines are y equals. In other words, y equals 1, y equals 2, y equals -3. So whenever you see these linear equations that are really, really short, like x equal a number or y equal a number, just know that you're talking about horizontal or vertical lines.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's a good place to stop. Yeah, have you decided yet whether you want a regular time each week, or you just want to go in and like you did this one?
I think like the might be to go in and personally schedule it because I kind of work schedule.
Okay, that's perfectly fine. If you ever reach a point where you know that a certain time on a certain day is going to work for you and you want to lock it up, email, call me, or text me, and I'll see if it's available. And if it is, I will dedicate it strictly to you. And then you won't have to go in each time and make an appointment. But until your schedule becomes a little bit more solid, go ahead and just go in like you've been doing it. That works. You didn't have any trouble doing this one, did you? Did you? Okay. Yeah, I don't know if you went to Digital Math Tutor or Algebra to Calculus. Either one gives you the same scheduling capability. So,
yeah.
Okay, Chris, I will talk to you next time.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.